something which is language, border, and also reorganization. So may I invite Paramita Madam to join the team. Right. Yes, yes. So this
Here at the 9th Kalinga Literature Festival, and I'm especially proud that the erudite and a very knowledgeable person, Dr. Sanjeev Chopra, who's an IS of the 1985 batch, and he's a public historian, and he wears many hats, and out of that, one of the many hats that he has worn is he's been the director of the Lal Bahadur Shastri Academy. And with the coming of Corona has affected us in so many ways, but it has affected Dr. Chopra in a very significant way, in that he has actually come up with this very scintillating and intellectual, well thought out book. And I would like to say that this book is actually a very dealing with a very complex subject, but put forward in a very simple way. Like we had the Puranas, and then they were put forth in the form of the Amar Chitra Katha, so they could reach each and every home. So similarly, we had V.P. Menon, who was the architect of modern India, and who had written the famous, iconic book, The Integration of the Indian States. And in his footsteps comes this book by the very erudite Dr. Sanjeev Chopra, who has also made a very fascinating study of the integration of the Indian states, but through a very different way. It is the examination of the political history of India through its shifting internal boundaries, but from a cartographic view, which means through the view of the maps. And if Dr. Chopra's good friend, Mr. Tharoor, had been here, he would have asked Dr. Chopra, what is this thing that you have about maps, Sanjeev? So Sanjeev sir, you've written this very fascinating book on the political history of India and India's shifting internal borders from the viewpoint of different maps, which you have looked at closely, and we would like you to share with us how you developed this passion to look at India through its very unique and original maps.
Thank you so much, Lipi. Thank you very much, Kalinga Literature Festival, for having me here. You see, there are three things which only sovereigns can do. Only sovereigns can issue currency notes. Only sovereigns can issue a map. And only sovereigns can issue a stamp. I mean, the rest of the thing can be done by anybody else. I mean, hotels can be set up by anyone, airlines can be set up by anyone. But these three things bear the stamp of sovereignty. And of these, the map of a country is very significant, because the map represents what a nation thinks about herself. Now, the Survey of India is one of the finest knowledge organizations in this country. And some of the important knowledge organizations in the country include the Anthropological Survey, the Botanical Survey of India, the Zoological Survey of India. The Survey of India takes care of all the maps, and whenever there is any change in the internal demarcation of a country, or a change in the name of a particular province or something, the Survey of India comes out with a new map. And this is a tradition which started with the Survey of Bengal in 1796, when the first map of India was produced by the Survey of Bengal, which showed the positions of the East India Company. And as the East India Company expanded, whenever the East India Company would take a new position or a new area, the Survey of Bengal, then called the Survey of Bengal, would produce a new map to tell the world that this is where the East India Company is represented. So, you know, what happened was that in 2002, I had taken the officers of the 2002 batch, 2020 batch to the Survey of India to look at the new survey techniques, and there we saw I mean, I went to the museum and I saw the maps of India over a period of time. Now, we don't have a PowerPoint presentation here today. Otherwise, typically I show the map of India in 1947 and I take it to the map of India in 2019. And the one thing about you will see about the map of India in 1947 is entirely different from the map of India in 2019. In fact, I would say that there is not one province, there is not one state, there is not one union territory, there is not one configuration which is the same as it was then. Today's Kerala was yesterday's Travancore Cochin. Today's Odisha is very different because although he did mention that, Odisha became a state after the 1935 Act, yet all the princely states of Odisha were not integrated into Odisha in 1947. And in fact, a lot of credit for the merger of the princely states goes to Hare Krishna Mehta. Hare Krishna Mehta is actually one person who has not been given his significant place in the history of this country. In fact, 2 or 3 people that I've come across in the course of this research, Biswanath Das, who was the second Chief Minister of Odisha, and second Premier of Odisha, because the first one was the Maharaja of Parakal Medi. I forget that. Yeah, he was the first, Gajapati Singh Deo, he was the first Premier, but the actual Premier, the Congress Premier, was Biswanath Das. So that's how I started looking at the story of the various maps. And just to put it on record, you see the 1947, we had 9 states and 562 princely states. Then you had 1950, where you had Part A and Part B states. And then in 1953, in fact, Andhra was made in 1953. Andhra state was made in 1953. Andhra Pradesh was made in 1956 because in Andhra state, the Telugu-speaking areas of Hyderabad had still not been integrated. It was only the Telugu-speaking areas of the erstwhile Madras Presidency which had become Andhra state. So Andhra state is actually 4 versions. You had Andhra state, then you had Andhra state and Hyderabad. You had Telugu-speaking people in Hyderabad. So you had Hyderabad, which was essentially a Telugu state, Telugu and others. Then you had Andhra state. In 56 we had Andhra Pradesh, and then in 2014 we have Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. So every state has a fascinating story. And unfortunately, we have all looked at the history of India only from the point of view of New Delhi. We have never looked at the history of India from the point of view of the states. And the real action and the real politics, or the real reorganization of India takes place in the states. And that is what I've tried to study in this book. And it's been a fascinating journey. When you compare one map, when you compare the map of 1947 with the map of 1950, you find many changes. When you look at the map of 1950 with 1952, you find more changes. When you see the map of 1953, you find still more changes. In 56. So the story continues. I, was very fortunate, so I could put all these maps in the library. And I would keep looking at the maps and say, all right, this is the change that has happened. So then I started reading about what are the changes that have happened. So that is how this book, took place. And incidentally, in the process of writing, for instance, even in the case of Odisha, the name of Odisha to Odisha came about only in 2010. And that is when and it also shows how history never, it's always evolving, because Bande Utkal Janani was first sung 112 years ago. You see, it was, and I was hoping that today we will start with Bande Utkal Janani in the KalingaLitfest, but we did not do it. I'm a bit surprised and a tad worried about it. Not worried, but surprised. And I would urge the Kalinga Literature Festival that next year we should start the Kalinga Literature Festival Bande Utkal Janani. It's nice to, and the other great thing about Odisha linguistic thing is also, and that's what many people have written, that never has Odisha nationalism been posited against Indian nationalism. That's the great part about being in our country. A national anthem just reflects Punjab, Sindh, Gujarat, Maratha, Dravid, Utkal, Bandha. So all this is being recognized, all this is being celebrated. There are very few national anthems in the world which will be celebrating such diversity as we have in our country. I can go on and on and on, but you better ask something.
So I have my share of questions to ask Dr. Chopra. And Sanjeev sir, we had a masala pot boiler film which was rocking at the box office. It was the film star Shah Rukh Khan's comeback film called Pathan, which was dealing with Jammu and Kashmir becoming a union territory. And one of the legacies painful legacies that we Indians have is that a major part of Kashmir is occupied by Pakistan and China. And also when Jammu and Kashmir became a UT, we had Ladakh becoming a UT. But then the Buddhist Association of Ladakh, they actually sent Thanksgiving to the Union government that they were so very happy to become a UT. So what do you have to say about one film being made on Kashmir and a Thanksgiving from the Buddhist Association? What do you have to say about that?
Although as a Chopra I am expected to know much about Bollywood, but let me confess that, I do not know much about Bollywood. So I cannot comment on the film Pathan. It's done very well, but I am not a great film buff, so I will not. And
no, actually, the film starts with that premise.
Yeah, that's fine. But let me tell you about the story of Jammu Kashmir.
Yes.
The name of Jammu Kashmir, or the stamp that was issued by the Maharaja of Jammu Kashmir, the name of the state is Jammuwa, Kashmir, Ladakh, Tibet. So Jammu Kashmir is actually a federation of 4 states. I mean 4 provinces within Jammu and Kashmir. Those were Jammu, Kashmir, Tibet, and Ladakh. Right. So the story of Jammu Kashmir, as many of you are aware, this was sold. After the Treaty of 1946, it was sold to the Maharaja of Jammu. Now, what had happened in 1946, 1946-47 was that you had a mirror image of Hyderabad and Jammu Kashmir. Hyderabad had a Muslim king with a majority Hindu population, and Jammu Kashmir was a Muslim majority state with a Hindu king. There I bring the story of Jinnah, which is very important to understand. Mr. Jinnah, the founder of Pakistan, did not really want Hyderabad and Jammu Kashmir to be part of Pakistan. Because Mr. Jinnah felt threatened, I am using the word very carefully, he felt threatened by the popularity of Sheikh Mohammed on the one side, and he felt threatened by the influence which the Nizam of Hyderabad had over the larger Muslim community, not only in India, but across the world, and as Aisha Jalal has pointed out, he wanted to be the sole source. Now, what happened in 1947 is a story in which many reams of paper have been written. But in 1947, also the Ladakh Buddhist Association did not want an association with Jammu and Kashmir. Let us understand that Jammu and Kashmir state, as it existed in 1947, was not like natural Odisha. See, what brings a state together? What brings a community together? The idea of a national Odisha was there much before Odisha became Odisha. Right, so the parts of Odisha which were in the Bengal and Bihar presidency, the parts of Odisha which were in Madras, so there was a natural thing. There is something natural about being a Kannadiga, there is something natural about being. But let us also accept the fact that Jammu Kashmir was an entity which was a political entity which was created in 1846. 1846, when the state of Kashmir was sold to the Maharaja of Jammu. Therefore, we have to understand the history and the perspective of this. A Sky Chin became a part of this territory because of the conquest which was done by General Zorawar Singh of the Dogras, which again is linked to the 1803 treaty. So it's a long story. To cut a long story short, the fact of the matter is that Jammu Kashmir and Ladakh, they are integral to the territorial integrity of the country. And on India and Pakistan, it's a fundamental issue on whether you look at India as a country which is multinational, multilingual, compared to what Pakistan thinks about itself. It thinks of itself as an ideological state. And believe you me, that in Jammu and Kashmir, at the time, in 1947, the most popular leader was Sheikh Mohammed Abdullah, and Sheikh Mohammed Abdullah felt that it is better for the Kashmiris to be part of India than to be part of Pakistan. I must mention here that Sheikh Mohammed Abdullah should not just be looked at as a leader of the National Conference. Sheikh Mohammed Abdullah had become the president of the All India State People Congress. In 1936 session, the Tripuri session in which Subhash Chandra Bose was the president, he had come and presided over these sessions. And he had become a pan-India leader by that time. Therefore, Sheikh Mohammed Abdullah did not want Kashmir to be a part of Pakistan. That is on record. And the most forceful speech that has been made in defense of India in the UN has been done by Sheikh Mohammed Abdullah. You know, history has many turns. What a person does in 1947 does not mean that he will continue to do the same thing much later. But in 1947, he was the most popular, one of the most popular leaders. And incidentally, I must also mention that the defense of Pakistan came from Sir Zafarullah Khan, who was an Ahmadiyya. So as things stand today, both persons have become persona non grata. Oh, in Pakistan, the person who defended Kashmir for Pakistan is an Ahmadiyya whose grave is no longer respected in Pakistan. And the person who fought for us is also not considered to be, I mean, you know, is the contested legacy of it. So history has a very interesting turn of events.
So friends, as you can see that Dr. Chopra is very erudite and a person of great learning, great in-depth information and learning. And he has used cartography to impart political information to us. But would you like to read from your book? No. Yes, we would like to hear what you want to say, tell us about Orissa. Because we are at the KalingaLitfest.
There are many firsts to the Odisha story. Odisha, along with Sindh and Bihar, was the first of the linguistic states conceived by the British on 1st April 1936 after a long and persistent demand of the Odia-speaking population. Now, Odisha's case is different from that of Sindh because the Odia-speaking population was spread across 4 administrative divisions as a division in the Bengal Presidency, secondly in the Central Province, which was a part of CP and Berar, the Madras Presidency, and many kingdoms under the princely states. There were 4 kinds of entities where Odia was being used. And that is what was called natural Odisha in administrative circles. So this gave concept to the national Odisha. Second, the assertion of Odia identity was primarily against the control of Bengalis, who have been referred to as the intermediary ruling class by Odisha. This was the second thing. Third was the Odia elite had a two-pronged strategy in place for the linguistic province. On the one hand, they were making an appeal to the colonial states for memorials, petitions, and other things. And secondly, they invoked Lord Jagannath as the unifying force for these things. There was a transition in leadership from the constitutionalism of Madhusudan Das to the mass movement of Gopabandhu Das. I must also mention your grandfather.
Thank you, Sanjeev sir. Thank you so much.
Fakir Mohan ji, who had translated most of the Puranic texts and the Mahabharata and the Ramayana into Odia to make it more popular and to make it more accessible. Seventh, mobilizing people on the basis of popular demands was different from the task of governance, and this became apparent when there was a clash of class interests between the landlords and the sharecroppers. Other point which comes out is that the 40% tribal community of Odisha was never part of the political discourse. I mean, Odisha was a state which had perhaps after the Northeast the maximum number of tribals, but they were not part of the political discourse. So the last but not the least, there was the Gandhian idea of Suraj. In fact, many people also feel that Gandhiji's Padayatra draws its inspiration from the Rath Yatra of famous Rath Yatra of Jagannath. So there are many, and the other very important point is that Odia nationalism was never posited against Indian nationalism. So one of the greatest things that has happened in the linguistic reorganization of states is that you are a proud Bengali and you are a proud Indian, you are a proud Bharat. So that's the great strength of a country. In a session just before this, an author was saying that it was not good. I think it was very good to have linguistics. The problem, it's a different subject, but I think the problem is that we have not invested enough in our languages. We have not invested enough in our languages, and for whatever reasons, English has become the dominant language. Of course, there's nothing wrong about it also, but it should not have been at the cost of our language. And I was just reading a book that today more than 50% students in our country are not getting their elementary education in their mother tongue. They're getting it in English or in another language, which has its own implications, but that's for another
So friends, very informative. Dr. Chopra just shared with us that Gandhiji's Padyatra was inspired by the Rath Yatra of the Lord Jagannath. I never knew this, being in Oriya, and I'm really thrilled to be in conversation with Dr. Chopra, and I'm sure all of you are enjoying the conversation. So now, just like you mentioned, Dr. Chopra, I would like to ask you about this merger of the Indian princely states. It was quite a massive thing to happen in India, I mean, with no parallel in global history. And I think it was one of the most...
there is no parallel in world history to what we've been able to achieve, you know. And especially those 3 years of 1947 to 1950 were very important events. And I think, major credit has to go to Sardar Patel and Lipi Menon for having performed this. I must mention that there were 2 instruments. There was the instrument of accession, which had just transferred 3 subjects: defense, external affairs, and communications to the government of India. But the day-to-day administration, I mean the civil administration, the revenue administration, criminal administration, that was all with the local Rajas and Maharajas. So that is where the merger is going to take place. And that is where Hari Krishna Mehtab pointed out that, you know, unless we can merge the neighboring princely states with the linguistic province, which is the closest to them, they will be problems. And it was the suggestion of Hari Krishna Mehtab that led to the creation of Part A, Part B, and Part C states in the country. Therefore, he has a major contribution to make.
So friends, it's good to hear about Hare Krishna Mehtab's contribution to the country. And now let's come to the topic of... Sanjeev sir, would you like to tell us about the Operation Polo, where in which Hyderabad was made a part of India, the Indian Republic?
See, the interesting thing about Operation Polo is that General Chaudhary was there in Operation Polo. General Chaudhary was there when we got the merger of Goa, and General Chaudhary was also the commander-in-chief when we had the 65 war. So I think it's very rare for a general to have been in the core and in the center of 3 very important events in this country. Now, Operation Polo was a very simple operation because, there was just no challenge between the Hyderabad army and the... So let's not talk. What I want to bring about is that something which people are not willing to talk today or are unwilling to accept. The fact that the Congress and the RSS worked together in Hyderabad. The Congress and the RSS worked together in Goa. And on several occasions in the country, the Congress and the RSS worked together. Today, both the Congress and the RSS would like to unite. You know, they will not want to touch each other with a bat. But actually, history shows us that they've actually been together. History also shows us that many times the Congress and the RSS and the Communist parties have opposed certain things, and yet those things have been overruled by the people. For example, in the case of Maharashtra, when Bombay presidency had to be reorganized, at that time, the Congress, the Communists, and today, of course, the Communist Party strength is depleted. But let us not forget that in the 1950s and 60s, the Communists were a very strong force to regulate the country. And the Jana Sangh, and the PSP, all political parties were opposed to the reorganization of Bombay into Maharashtra and Gujarat. And yet, the Samyukt Maharashtra movement that came up, it defied all their leadership, and people did what they wanted to do. Which also shows that while our grand national parties may have a grand narrative, you know, for example, the new pension scheme, while all political parties, the NPS was started by Mr. Vajpayee, NPS continued for the 10 years of the regime under Manmohan Singh, and it continued here. But today, whenever there will be a state election, people are going against their national leadership. Right. So what I'm trying to say, I'm sorry, I forgot how to start that.
No, that's okay. It's quite informative. Please go on, Sanjeev sir.
The problem is when you write a book after spending 2 years, you know, so many stories that you forget which story you started with, but at 62 one is allowed to, you know, make
But friends, I would like to tell you that Dr. Chopra has been on this topic for a very long time, and his articles on this particular shifting boundaries of India has been, going on for a very long time before his book actually got published. But then there is one thing that I would like to ask you, Sanjeev sir. What do you have to say about the border dispute of Maharashtra and Karnataka regarding Belgaum? It is, yeah.
The principle that has been followed is that the majority population must be speaking or must be willing to speak in that language. Clearly, in the case of Belgaum, I mean, the majority population is Kannada speaking, right? These are all political. Let us also understand that politics is a different kettle of fish, right? Politics is different. So political demands will always be made. And many of the demands may not be tenable. The fact is that the SRC had a very clear principle about this, that if 70% of the population follow a particular language, then the people of that district or that sub-district should be part of a particular state, except when it comes to matters of geographical continuity and a totally desperate situation, as happened in the case of Kachar. Now, Kachar is right next to Bangladesh, right? Old Sylhet, which is Bengali speaking. But Sylhet could not, I mean, Kachar could not have been part of it. It could not have been part of it because there was no geographical continuity. Therefore, there the decision was taken that in the state of Assam, Kachar will continue to have Bengali as an official language. Now, therefore, in most cases, these disputes are bound to happen at the border, because around Punjab, between Punjab and Haryana, there would be sub-districts and there will be subdivisions where the contest on whether it is Punjabi speaking or Hindi speaking, this and that is always continued. But these are, some disputes will always continue in a country of this size and this dimension.
But do you think Maharashtra is justified in going to the Supreme Court demanding the return of Belgaum?
As long as it's an argument before the court, as long as it's something that we want to do, it's fair enough. I mean, going to Supreme Court is everybody's fundamental right. I mean, you have a dispute, I mean, we have a dispute on Rasagullas between Bengal and Odisha. We have a dispute in Midnapur where I am from the Bengal part, so where our chief minister was stopped by the Odisha police from entering a particular area. So these things are okay. I mean, I think we should take it in the light way. So it is not that, but the dispute can become serious, as happened between the Assam and the Meghalaya. That was a very serious thing. So I think, these are tough questions.
Definitely. And Dr. Chopra's book, the book We the People of the States of Bharat, answers very, very many complex questions in a very simple and lucid way. And I think all of us should go for a copy of it. But now, just as you said, that Dr. Chopra belongs to the 85 batch of the Indian Administrative Service, West Bengal cadre, and he speaks very good Bengali. So I would like to ask him about the Bengal-Bihar dispute, about the Roy Sinha proposal.
That was not a dispute. That was a very unique example. In fact, the only example in our country where two states wanted to merge. You see, in 1953, Dr. B.C. Roy had gone to Punjab to attend the Congress session. In 1953, there was a Congress session which was held in Amritsar, and there B.C. Roy had seen how well the integration of Punjabi had happened in Punjab. And that was because a lot of land was available in the area which is now Haryana. So B.C. Roy and Sri Krishna Sinha, they felt that why don't we merge Bengal and Bihar? And this resolution was passed by both the Bengal Assembly and the Bihar Assembly. And the opposition to this idea came from the UP Congress, because the UP Congress felt that if there is a state of Bihar and Bengal, this will be so large that it will become even more dominant than UP. And UP did not want to lose its control over the rest of the country, which UP continues to dominate. So that is the thing. So the idea is that a challenge to an idea can come from anywhere. So good idea can be challenged from anywhere and from anywhere.
Yes. So
maybe we can open it up.
please friends, you've been hearing Dr. Chopra speaking about internals, about the states of Bharat. Please, would you like to throw some questions at him? Would you ask him some questions? Anyone would like to?
Sir, I have never read history during my career. I am a physics grad. But when I started preparing for civil service, I started reading it. At one point, one of our teachers who was taking coaching, he told that there is one, it's a province or it's a territory, I cannot remember, that is ruled by Portuguese. And eventually, because we got independence from Britishers, French left it, Portuguese did. There is one territory where the local people didn't allow the Portuguese ship to come. Can you throw a little light on that?
See, what had happened was that the first agreement that India made was actually with the government of France. We got independence on 15th August, and on 28th August we had an agreement with France about the return of the French territory. So that was the first positive agreement. On the other hand, because France was a democracy and this was Portugal was a dictatorship. So Portuguese territories were Goa, Dadra, Daman, Diu, Nagar Haveli. These were 3 or 4 areas. Now, interestingly, what happened was that in Dadra and Nagar Haveli, those of you who've seen this film, Saath Hindustani, there the Indian volunteers of the RSS, the Gomantak Dal and the Congress, they went together and took over the area of Dadra and Nagar Haveli. And they declared that the free Parishad, I mean they declared that the Varishth Parishad of Dadra and Nagar Haveli. And Dadra and Nagar Haveli had become de facto independent in 1955. In fact, in 1961, they nominated an IAS officer of the Gujarat cadre, K.J. Badlani, as the Prime Minister so that he could sign an agreement with Mr. Nehru on an equal footing, asking for the merger of Dadra and Nagar Haveli with the rest of the country. As far as the main Goa is concerned, you see, the main dispute with the Portuguese was that Portugal was a part of NATO. And till the creation of the Berlin Wall, the idea was that in case a NATO member has a fight with any other country, all the NATO countries would sort of, would get together. It was only when Berlin Wall was created that it became very clear that NATO support to each other would be only in North Atlantic. And within the moment that happened, we made a declaration in the parliament that look, we'll be going and liberating Goa, and that's how the delay took place between 47 and 61. Yes, yes, yes.
Thank you so much. Like your reference to Sheikh Abdullah, and in fact, we in India, we really do not understand the significant role of Sheikh Abdullah. But along with that, what kind of political thoughts of Sheikh Abdullah about land reforms, this is my first question. Secondly, about you were saying that our nationalism has not been against Indian nationalism. It is indeed so, but that has changed in post-independent India, or at least there is a production of a kind of hyper-nationalism which does not have an organic link to our provincial nationalism. Why it is this? And my third query is, since you are talking about India that is Bharat, but Bharat through time is known as Bharatavarsha. And these different regions of India have been part of lively transnational and cosmopolitan networks. Now we cannot understand Odisha without understanding its relationship with East Asia, Java, Sumatra and Bali. I request your reflection on this kind of regional transnationalism which constitutes India and its impact on formation of India.
Well, thank you. The organizers are pressing with leave, but let me try to respond. First of all, Sheikh Abdullah's move for the redistribution of land was a very positive move. That is what made him very popular. But I must mention here that that was also the demand of the Congress party. So the Congress is the All India State People's Congress. That is the Prajaman. This was a pan-India demand, right? So it was not that Sheikh Abdullah was the only person who was looking for land redistribution. It was a pan-India movement at that time. Second question was about Bharat and Bharatvarta. I have not really looked at the difference between Bharat and Bharatvarta. I have considered them synonymous. And I would, in fact, take it back to the very first slope of the Bhagavad Gita, where, Sanjaya is being asked by Dhritarashtra that tell me, Sanjaya, which are the armies, what is the array of armies on both sides? And there, when you link this part of the questioning of Sanjaya, of Dhritarashtra to Sanjaya, there you realize that within the overall ambit of Bharat, starting from Gandhar, Sinhala, all these things, so all this is a part of the mental and the civilization construct of Bharat as we talked about. Third, you mentioned about the larger influence of some states and some areas to outside the country. Now that is where the Jambu Dweep comes in. That is where the conception of Jambu Dweep comes in. That is why when we sit down for prayers, it is Jambu Dweep, Bharat Khande, this and that and that. So it's a much longer discussion. I'm glad that you raised this point. There are references to this in my book, but I can see our hostess, looking at me with very difficult, I would say, but thank you so much. And we can carry on this conversation over coffee as well. May I, if I have your permission, I'll take 1 minute. You see, very few people will buy the book. Fewer will then read the book. And after having read the book, fewer will even absorb what I want to say. So I will take the liberty of reading the conclusions. My conclusions are the following. Number one, that the notion of identity is fluid. When I say the notion of identity is fluid, it means that it is not cast in stone and it is not all air. See, how do you look at a Punjabi? How do you look at an Odia? How do you look at a Bengali? There could be Bengalis who stayed here for 200 years. Are they Odias or are they Bengalis? Whatever they are, they're certainly not Punjabis. Right? So the notion of identity is fluid. Second, language normally unites, but language can also be divisive, as happened in the case of Punjab, where 3 scripts are being used. Third, the perspective of national political parties is very different from what, for instance, the perspective of BJD and the perspective of TMC on anything would be very different from the perspective of All India Party. What government of India would want without the Teesta voters is very different from what the TMC would want. What the relationship Indian Punjab and Pakistan Punjab would want is very different from what the government of India may want. Fourth, that the national press, the so-called English press, the Hindi press and the regional press would have very different perspectives on the same issue. On the same issue, many perspectives will be there because of the way in which the book is written. Next, demography affects politics in a very major way. I'll give you the case of Sikkim in just 1 minute. Sikkim, we say, became a part of India because by 1947, the population of Sikkim had become Nepalese. So Lepchas and Bhutias were no longer in the majority. Therefore, when demographic transition takes place, other things follow. And so I'll leave now. And the last point which I wish to make is that, all meta-narratives from Mahabharata to the decline and fall of the Roman Empire, to Yuval Noah Harari, one thing is very clear, that nobody says that they want to be in power for the sake of power. Everybody says that it wants to be in power for something else. But power gets into everybody's head, hubris takes its own toll, and that's the way all civilizations will go up and all civilizations will go down. Thank you very much to KalingaLitfest for having me.
Thank you, friends, for listening to Dr. Chopra speak about his latest book. And as children, we have all loved our Treasure Island, copy of the Treasure Island, which had a very significant map in it. And this is another book on that line, which gives us the treasure of Indian politics. And I would suggest that all of you take a look at it and go through it. It's a very interestingly written book, very informative, very well written. So go for it. Thank you, Dr. Chopra. Thank you so much for being in conversation.